Okay. All right, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order. Open the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, starting with our activity reports. We had a park and tree meeting where we discussed again the tree trimming ordinance stuff that we discussed at our working session. Talked about some other things that we can do, looking at pricing out some equipment for some of the parks, including the Ampey Park. Discussed a lot about how we don't need to do anything super fancy, but maybe some swings and a slide or two might be nice. Just something for kids to play on over at Ampey Park. So that's something that we're working on. Staff, we're going to be talking to some sources around town to see if we can get some discounted pricing or maybe some sponsorship things for some of the people who maybe manufacture that. We had our employee appreciation dinner. I think the rest of the council was there as well. We do that every year. And again, thank you to all of those who work for our city because we couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you guys. We had a policies and procedures meeting. I'll save that. We didn't discuss anything that's not on the agenda later on in terms of those amended policies and things. I was not able to make the firefighters banquet. Sorry about that, guys. My kid was home with a fever, so my wife was taking care of him and I had to go to Costco. I would have rather been at the dinner. We were supposed to have an environmental meeting, but we couldn't get a quorum, so that's not there. I think Tark, Dan, and I have been talking a little bit about whether or not we should just sort of fold that committee into the Park and Tree Committee and move forward under one umbrella going forward. Otherwise, we also had the working session that we were all at, so I won't cover that in any further detail. We'll turn down to the end. Paul.
All I had was the city council working session last Monday.
Right. Megan?
I had the working session as well, policies and procedures, and the employee appreciation event too.
Neil?
No, I've been busy. The employee appreciation event, we had, I went to the gala for the Community Foundation, represented the city. Trail meeting on September 29th, talked about the trail along County Road 130 and phase 2 of that project and pushing to complete the trail from Northtown to Roscoe. Work session on October 6th, and we talked about every department and wants and wishes. And on Saturday night, the fireman's supper, the best beef in town. And today, Public Works, and we had a number of topics. Talked a little bit about the water and sewer budget. The suggestions for a board member were one short. Service line warranty. Safe routes to school, which we got a grant from, and that project should be proceeding. And we need tires for the payloader that we just purchased, so Dan can probably go further on that.
Donna?
Oh, I attended the working session and the employee appreciation event.
All right, thank you. Department head reports. Dan, you're first on my list here.
Since Neil brought it up, tires for the payloader, we did discuss at the Public Works Board meeting. I'm not going to bring that until the next council meeting. I'm getting quotes for it, but we do need new tires to make that more efficient. October 31st, we have leaf pickup for the city. We just reapplied to be a Tree City USA city with the National Arbor Day Foundation. so that's kinda nice. The stuff we surplus from the new snowplow garage, people came and picked that up today. We've got that mostly cleared out so we can get our building sprayed down, cleaned up and ready to go. We have the new door coming on the 27th, so that will be complete, and then we can get those things going. We start taking trucks to Albany to get DOT'd on the 20th. We'll take 2 trucks up, and then we'll take another 2 trucks after that. So they'll be all DOT'd. We'll have our new doors, we'll have our shop cleaned out. We're getting ready for that time of the year. All the parks have been blowed out, and the bathrooms are closed for the season. At the end of the month, the guys said they'll probably pull the docks and everything down at the lake park, and that season will end. I'm working on finishing up budgets, working with Belinda to do the water sewer rates and get the budgets finished up. And many other things leading into the fall season.
Okay. This may be a better question for Tarek, so feel free to defer if you need to, but where are we at with the AMPI amendment agreement?
That's been sent to Wayne at AMPI about a little over a week ago. We're waiting to hear back, and Tarek can comment further.
Yeah, we just discussed it at Public Works, and, you know, they haven't had a chance to discuss it internally, I guess. That was the feedback that I got, and hopefully they'll be getting back to us soon. Otherwise, I'll remind them again that we need to get this moving.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Dan? None? Paul?
Thank you. Not a ton to report on. I had mentioned at the working session last week, we were having issues with a squad car. We heard back on Friday from the Chrysler dealership. That squad has been approved for a new engine, but we have no idea when the engine's gonna show up. So unfortunately, I don't have a time frame on when that's gonna be coming back on the road. We are still working on putting together a proposal and some quotes to get, look at just simply replacing that, and once it gets a new engine, selling it off for consumer purposes. We've got some training coming up for the guys. Officer Wells has EVOC tomorrow. We'll be sending Sergeant Hokinson to.
What? I'm sorry.
What's that?
As what tomorrow?
EVOC,
Okay.
Emergency Vehicle Operation.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't talking about furry little woodland creatures.
No, not EWOC.
That's what I heard too.
Sergeant Hokinson's gonna be going to a background investigation course so that we can keep our background investigations in-house, and then he's got his TZD conference next week. Basically, it's important he gets to that one just because it helps him keep up his DRE status and certification. Officer Wells is out on his own. I'm sure you guys have seen him driving around. So far, so good. He's doing a good job and has a good grasp on the community. And just so that the council is aware, I will be taking my sabbatical starting at the end of this month. So Sergeant Hokinson will be stepping into my place while I'm gone.
Questions for the chief? Okay. Chief Mike?
So far this year, we're sitting at 158 calls. We did get our rescue truck back last week. It was just a wiring issue, so it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. I got the numbers from the backdraft bash. Net was $10,721.90. We set $5,000 aside for the band next year. The fire department made $4,005.33, and the chamber made $1,716.57.
How does that compare to years past?
It is down. Change of venue, it was late in the year, all the college kids were back at school. A lot of things
Okay.
that brought the numbers down. In September, we had active shooters training at the school on a Saturday. Everything went really good, learned a lot. So hopefully we're prepared a little bit better if something like that would ever happen in town. We had our supper Saturday night, served 658 people. And that should be everything. Any questions?
Neil?
Mike, I have a question on the fire hall. Are we, a little bit back, we talked the roof needs repair, and there's some repairs that are needed. Are we,
We're trying to figure out if we can get by with just repairing it or if we need to replace it. We should be getting numbers together in a month or so.
because we have to keep it up because the new building, who knows how long that's gonna be,
Yep.
so.
Can we wait a month?
What's that?
Can we wait a month to get those numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I assume you're gonna wanna go first so you guys can get over to your meeting?
Yeah, I gotta try and be in Wilmer by 7, so.
All right, we'll take you up after the consent agenda. Thanks, Mike. Tark?
All right, I think some of the meetings were already mentioned, but the ones that weren't, went to the Stearns County Hazard Mitigation Meeting. This was a meeting that they put together to update the 5-year plan for Stearns County hazard mitigation. And they will be sending out us a kind of a draft of what we feel are the important emergency or hazard items that we need to update, I guess, and then we'll have another meeting to go over a more thorough plan before they submit it. I think they said it's due June next year, but they want to wrap it up sometime early in the year so we have time to review and comment. Joint trail meeting also, that was last week, policies and procedures, park and tree, and of course the employee appreciation. Those are the key items.
Questions for Tark? Hearing none, okay. Is there anybody here for our open forum? Okay. Moving on. If you want to, Joe, sure. Otherwise, were you here to talk about the downtown stuff?
No, not now.
Okay.
No, this is different.
Uh-oh.
It's probably encompassing everything you're doing. First of all, I'm very impressed and hopeful about the progressive moves that are being made in the city right now, and especially after reading the Painesville Housing Study with their assessment of how much of a growth we're going to have in the city in the next 10 years, and the housing that's going to be required. And that's going to be a big issue to get that done. And but there's a lot of things that go along with having to provide that housing because of the number of jobs and the number of people that are going to be in the community. And one of the things that I'm involved with also is our child care issue that we have in the community. It's not getting as much attention because the process that we're going through demands that we need to get some groundwork done before we can get up to the public and let everybody know where we're at that. And as you probably, if you do get copies of the Minneapolis Tribune, Minnesota Tribune, they had a big article there today about the different communities that are struggling to keep their daycare centers. Slayton is the only daycare center in that whole county, and they're being closed down because they can't find another place with money, or a lot of other issues, and a lot of other cities are doing the same thing. It's not just Painesville, it's state, it's a national issue. We've had meetings already with the providers in the Painesville area, which are not enough to take care of all the needs, but we wanted to get their input to find out what the recommendations would be, and we'll go forward from there. Now, it was in last week's press, in the community events column, there's quite a bit of an article there. We were having a public meeting for public input. So far, we just had the daycare providers, but and as of today, the registration, we've only had 4 people signed up for this public meeting, which is abysmal as far as getting some interest and getting some information out. if you go back to that article, it's at the Cronus Ministries Retreat Center, and it's on Monday, November 3rd. It starts at 5:30, and the dinner is free. So, and I'm sure that this is all part of the grant that the city or this group has received to put on this whole process to be able to get the right answers for daycare. Not just, we may all have ideas what should be done, but we need to hear from people that don't have kids right now, but their granddaughters or their nephews or somebody are being affected by it. So I'd like to use this public forum to get people to think about coming to that meeting on November 3rd, on Monday. There's a registration deadline of October 26th. It tells right in the bottom of that article how you can register. And the whole thing has been put on. We're a coalition. We started with the Lions and the hospital and the school and so on, because we all have a vested interest in childcare. And it's through the process of the state. It's called the Rural Child Care Innovation Program. A lot of words, but it's to be able to look at what we have, what we need. We're finding out that we need quite a few daycare slots. We don't have room for them at all. They're going to neighboring communities if they can at all, or that you can't find anything. And so that's my issue today. That goes hand in hand with the growth of the community, go hand in hand with any kind of improvements in the downtown area or anything else. But we need to have all that working for us to keep the growth and the employment and so on in the city. That's all I wanted to talk about tonight. Thank you.
Sure.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So I'm part of that coalition as well, and I was going to bring it up, but then I saw Joe and I knew he was, so I was like, all right, we're good. But I did share that publicly to the Paynesville site and on my own Facebook and other social media as well. If anybody's interested, the link will be there, so it won't be that hard to register. And I know that a lot of people have reached out over my years that I've been on the council to discuss it as a really pertinent issue that we need to address. And so if you are one of those people, or if it's a thought that you've had, now's the time, because we really need some voices as we move forward to figure out what the solution is going to be, because it's not going to be the same as, any other city that this has worked with. We're all individuals, and we need to go forward looking for a solution that works for Paynesville. So I would just really encourage anybody with any interest at all to sign up and come out for that. That's it.
Thank you. Right, on to the consent agenda. Includes the minutes on page 1, the vouchers on page 2, which total a total of $1,127,411.04. The resignation of a Public Works Board member, and the resignation of a Public Works technician, Ruhoff. I am going to ask that the Park and Tree Board member appointment be pulled, and we take that up in new business as new business H. Nothing crazy, I just have a thought.
Okay.
So with the remaining A, B, C, and E on the consent agenda, is there a motion to approve?
Mayor?
Yeah,
John Levin,
yes, sir.
he is also on one or two other boards. And rather than bother him, could we accept his resignation for those boards also?
Yes, but let's technically pull it, because I think we have to do that if it's on consent. So we'll deal with that. We'll deal with C and D as new items later on. Just because I don't think we can modify what is in the consent agenda if we approve it as a consent item.
Okay.
So I'm just being technical, but I don't have a problem with it. So then with A, B, and E, is there a motion to approve what's left of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Hersberg. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, told the guys from the fire department we'd take them up first, so let's talk about the sale of fire truck number 11, posting that on MinBid, page 24 of our agenda.
We are gonna post it on MinBid. with no reserve on it. Bids will be open till October 30th.
There just hasn't been any interest so far, I think you said, right?
No interest on FTR.
Okay. I will say, it went for its last, or potentially last, big red ride.
Yep, we got pictures with all the kids and had a big poster made out of it, and just like we did with 6 when we got rid of that, so.
Yeah. I will add, I took a little mayoral privilege and joined my son for his ride. It was great, so thank you guys for letting me do that, and thanks
Bye.
for all the work that goes into hosting that every year. I don't know if an old fire truck would be permitted to be parked in my backyard, or if somebody.
I bet I know
raised his
people
hand
you
on
could
the
talk to
ad.
about that.
You had your hand up, Paul.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, with Minbid, it may only be 10 days, so it may not go till the 30th. They usually put a 7 to 10 day window on that, so just know if you get it posted tomorrow, it'll probably end with, sometime just after the 20th.
Okay.
Just so that everybody knows and they're not thinking it's still gonna be out there till the 30th.
Only other good thing to know is that as soon as it's posted, we'll let Kristen know so she can get it thrown up on Facebook. And I know the department's done a great job lately of posting stuff yourselves too, so. Okay, with that, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the sale of truck 11 on mid-bid. Notice on the website and Facebook pages.
I'll move to authorize the sale of fire truck number 11 on mid-bid with notice of such on the city's website and Facebook.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Potter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, then the Fire Relief Association increase in benefit. Page 34 of our packet.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Brad Melhoff, Fire Department Relief Association Treasurer. So we've got our analysis back. Para does an analysis for us every year in end of July, early August. We've reviewed it, and we would like to propose an increase of $3,000 per year per firefighter.
3,000.
Yeah,
What's
You
that?
said up 3,000.
yeah, 3,000.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Words matter. We're currently at 2,500. We'd like to boost that to $3,000 per year of service. Carrying their math over on their analysis, it's that 3,000 isn't in their analysis, but if you carry their math over, that brings us to 130% overfunded. And just for reference, their analysis is for January 1, so they're looking to the future of where they thought we would be at 968,000. We are now at 962. So we're very near, we're going to surpass if it continues to go the way it is. So we're doing well.
So just to make sure I'm reading this right, current levels, we're at 154% funding. The proposal on here, or the projection, is $2,700 would be 143.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bear with me. The projection on here would bring us to 143. If we went to 35, it'd drop it to 112. You're saying you did the math at 3,000, and that puts us at about 130%. And I know from many discussions with you in the past, you're pretty conservative with these things. There was a lot of hesitation going to para. You're comfortable with this and making this recommendation?
I am. We had, the board had a considerable discussion on this and whether it's the right thing to do, but we feel like it's, that 130% mark is a good mark to withstand a swing. And it's our due diligence to do it. The members earned it. They deserve it. We should give it to them if it's available.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Brad or comments, discussion? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion on this.
I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2025-30, opting to increase the benefit level for firefighters who are vested in the statewide volunteer firefighter plan.
I'll second.
Motion by Hersberg, seconded by Brick, as stated on the action sheet. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Right, going back up to the airport FBO hangar. Chuck or Dan?
Yes, in your packet is a copy of a state grant agreement. As the council may recall, for this project, we actually had 2 federal grants. One was our normal federal enhancement dollars, and the other one was the sort of the bill funds, the extra funds that were allocated to airports through the Infrastructure Act a few years ago. So there's two separate federal grants for the project, which means there's also 2 separate state grants to cover the 2.5%. This project's being 95% federal grant, 2.5% state grant, and the other 2.5% local. So this is one of the state grants. I believe the other one showed up last week, Tyler?
Yep, so the other one will be on the next council agenda.
So this one is for the extra funds in the amount of $15,394.74 to cover 2.5% of one of the federal grants.
We already received the federal grant, right?
Both federal grants have been received already.
Funds received?
Yeah, they've been executed. This is a reimbursement. We got to submit for reimbursement.
Just worry about, Neil's favorite buddy shutting us down, whether or not we're gonna get paid, so.
Well,
Big,
I
beautiful,
don't
right?
think so.
So, all right, so this is the state, we shouldn't be affected by anything. I'd entertain a motion on approval.
I'll move to approve as stated on the action sheet.
Motion by Brick is stated on the action sheet to approve the fund agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Hersberg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Right, on to the liquor store payment estimate.
Yes, the construction of the liquor store moves along really well. They're finishing up some of the exterior site improvements this week, and things inside are coming along very nicely. They started to put some of the sheeting on the outside today, so things should be looking fairly good in the next few weeks towards the end of the month. So in your packet is a copy of pay request 4 in the amount of $187,102.50.
Then I do recall Bill talking to us about this at our working session, noted that everything was coming in at or maybe even a little bit below budget as far as some of the other stuff he was picking out, so we're in good shape.
And at schedule.
And on schedule, yes. All right. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the pay estimate.
I'll move to approve payment estimate number 4 in the amount of $187,102.50 payable to Project One Construction, Inc.
So motion by Brick is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Potter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, the conditional use permits, C1 downtown. We talked a little bit about this at our working session. Where are we at, guys?
Well, I mean, you're part of the downtown as well, but I think the focus of this was really on apartment buildings, so the consensus or the interest moving forward was to change the apartments from an allowable use to a conditional use. That was the gist of it. And I know there's discussion on a broader picture, housing, et cetera, in the downtown, but when we met as a downtown committee and the recommendation to the planning board, it was only for apartment buildings, not apartments, apartment buildings from a allowable use to a conditional use.
I believe we just needed clarification so we can bring this back to the planning board, and with the correct wording, along with the resolution, then we can go ahead and approve it and bring it back to council to approve it again. So we're just kind of going on a big circle right now, but we had to get the wording right to make it stick. This is what Jennifer had explained that we needed to do to get it done right, so we might as well do it this way. So with that,
I guess,
Make a motion.
okay, there's a motion. What's your motion, Paul?
To require the C1 district a conditional use permit as recommended by the Downtown Street Improvement Committee, which would be, Tarek, help me out with the wording on this.
To make apartment buildings or move apartment buildings from a allowable use to a conditional use.
That's it.
So there's a motion by Thielen to require a conditional use permit for apartment buildings.
That's
So
correct.
well, just to make sure, I assume when you were talking about apartment buildings, you're using the phrase in section 3646 B2A where it says exclusive apartment building.
Yes.
So the motion is to require a conditional use permit for an exclusive apartment building. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion by Thielen, seconded by Hersberg. Discussion.
I had a question here where it said, not apartments allowed above, behind, or below the retail business, those are, so, what, does that cover also if there's like an office building on top? Or are we solely talking about retail for a non-conditional use permit? Or I mean, for not needing a conditional use permit, excuse me.
If it's a building now that has commercial in the front, and has an apartment above, below, and on the back, that is not an exclusive apartment building.
I know in
Right.
talking to Jen, I think to get to your question, Megan, bear with me, and if I don't answer it, yell at me.
Sure.
One of the issues that Jen has explained to me is we don't have retail business building defined.
Okay,
So retail business might mean shopping, it might mean office, it might mean a
okay,
number of things. We don't have that defined.
okay.
So,
I'm just looking forward into the
I suppose you
future.
could just call it storefront.
I think we don't have,
If you have a storefront, it's okay.
any of the buildings we currently have, I think it'll be grandfathered in anyway, but just if new buildings open up or new buildings are constructed, I'm just a little, have some questions about the ways that people might kind of get around that or attempt to, but we can save that for another time.
I think I would be in favor of, we can send an ordinance to the planning committee, but I would like it to come back with a recommendation on either changing the language of retail business building or giving us a definition of that term.
I thought that's what we had Sam Ketchum do. I know Jen was gonna get a hold of him.
He might be working on it already. But I think that should come back to us. I talked about this a little bit at our working session, and I know the downtown committee had recommended the exclusive apartment building. But as I understood the testimony that came from the planning, or from the public meeting that night, the discussion of apartment building was limited to that, not because that was the intent, but that's just all anyone thought of. And that really we were looking at anything that was exclusive housing, which would include 86 and 87 row houses and single and two-family dwellings. Joe, I'm looking at you. Did I misunderstand that, or were we really wanting to limit it to just exclusive apartments?
Oh, that surprised me, exclusive apartments, because what we're trying to regulate or keep in mind is the businesses that are there now were businesses, the businesses have moved out, there's apartments above and behind and so on, but if there's an attempt to make an apartment out of the remaining non-used business, that you'd have to have a conditional use permit. Now, that building that you're talking about is not an apartment building, it's a business building, and which allows living quarters above, behind, and below. So it's an attempt to keep that from being turned into on-street apartment, just as the zoning ordinance says further down, it's not allowed. Somehow, the wording on the mixed-use business thing seems to be make an end run around that, but it states in there, there should be no apartments on the main floor, level of the street. Now, if you talk about if you're speaking about apartment buildings downtown, you've got the old one on the corner there, the old hotel. You've got the old funeral home, strictly apartments. Otherwise, if you're just talking about that, those are the only two that would probably be affected by that description. I think what we started off at, and we've been talking at all these different meetings, is to prevent having apartments, like it says in the ordinance, on street level.
Right, so as I understand it, right now, the ordinance says we can have an exclusive apartment building, apartments on street level. So I think everyone's clear, the recommendation is get rid of that. But what wasn't clear to me is, do we want to continue to allow row houses and single-family and two-family dwellings as permitted uses, or require those to get conditional use permits as well? Because as I understood it, the thought is we want to preserve what's there, and to do that means require all things that are housing exclusive to get a conditional use permit. Otherwise, however unlikely it would be, somebody could buy the corner drug building, level it, put in a single-family house, and that totally complies with our ordinance, assuming they can get the setbacks and everything else in order.
That's zone commercial though.
Yes, you
But
could.
it's permitted.
But there's also some houses within the commercial district that are regular residences that were put up however many years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I
then they're
get it,
grandfathered
entirely.
now, so it
And
doesn't matter.
But what I'm saying is that I thought the intent was to say we want to try and preserve it with what it is. And I think if that's the intent, if that's the recommendation, my suggestion is the best way to do that is to also take lines 86 and 87 and require conditional use permits for those as well.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying, because I think,
Are you saying that to remain that way, you have to get conditional use permit?
no, not to remain that way, yeah, anything that's already up
That's not
stays.
what we were asking for at all, or recommending. We're just recommending for the empty buildings that are down in the downtown area, that they can't be expanded into,
Right.
And like the corner drug area, definitely you wouldn't want exclusive housing.
no.
It's the best retail in
That
town.
causes no traffic for business.
Right. But now, let's say somebody purchased the old Super Value building, tore it down and wanted to put an apartment or a couple row houses, or
That's
that'd
it.
be something conditionally you'd probably look at and say, yeah, that's probably would be okay.
Well, but if they could apply for a conditional use permit and convince the planning commission and the council that should be allowed, I suppose it could. That's why you have a conditional use permit.
I mean, that area would be a little bit more susceptible to approve than right
Now,
on Main Street.
just at a block and a half down the street, it doesn't, I don't think doesn't change it, it's still in the same district. But that's, your interpretation is correct, you could do that. They could do that with the corner drug building, ask for a conditional use permit, but I doubt if that would be allowed.
Correct.
Which is that we're talking about.
But as the ordinance stands right now, and as the motion is, if all we're doing is changing the exclusive apartment building, that would not stop anyone from buying up the old Super Value and putting in row houses.
I think it should
And
be, I think it should be exclusive housing, or exclusive residential
Right. So I think,
entirely, not
you know,
just apartments.
I think the easiest way to do that is to amend the motion to include lines 86 and 87.
In 91.
Did I miss one?
Well, above the theater is an apartment.
But that's not an exclusive apartment. That would still fall, as I see it, as B,
Yeah.
Okay,
where it's an apartment above, behind, below, or
all right,
whatever. Yeah.
stand corrected here.
Yeah, 86 and 87, I think, are the only ones that refer exclusively to housing. Or multiple family dwellings in 68.
Yep. So at this point, I would move to amend the motion to include the requirement for a conditional use permit for lines 68 multiple family dwellings, 86 row houses, 87 single and two family dwellings. Is there a second on the motion to amend the motion?
Yes, I'll second that.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion on the motion to amend? All those in favor of just the motion to amend the motion, not the motion itself, indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, any further discussion then on the entire motion, which would be to require a conditional use permit for exclusive apartment buildings, multiple family dwellings, row houses, and single and two family dwellings?
I just, like I said in the meeting that we had, the working session, we don't have a rental ordinance. I remember that was attempted at some point, and that was quite the hubbub surrounding that. So I don't think it hurts anything for us to be cautious and to have some sort of way of managing this. I don't, I think we're better safe than sorry. And I mean, if something comes in someone comes in and wants to do an exclusive housing and it's a good spot for it and it's looks like it's a good deal, then they have the avenue to do so with a conditional use permit. So I guess I don't see what the issue is. I think it's a good idea.
All those in favor of amending the ordinance that requires a conditional use permit for what I'm going to just summarily title exclusive housing, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right. Jumping ahead then, back to where we were before, snow removal operator, job description, hiring, page 37. Dan, anything else you want to tell us about this?
Just so we can get hired operators to come in and help us out this winter.
Has this been posted yet?
It has been posted, hasn't it, Dan?
I don't,
Or not yet.
we weren't allowed to post it until it got approved by
We're waiting on
council.
Okay. Policies and procedures reviewed this. We recommend going with it. Everything is in order. We had one change that, is now included in here, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the policy so that we can get it posted and get somebody on board or some people on board.
Are we still in discussion?
Yeah.
This job description, I'm afraid we're gonna scare away some of the people that originally were kind of looking for just truck drivers to haul snow. And if you read the job description, you're operator and anything involved with the, and that'd be great to have extra, but if we need a couple truck drivers, this seems awful elaborate.
I tried to thin it down as best I could.
I mean, we don't want to discourage somebody to apply that just wants to drive a truck, because we will have a slot that we need, maybe one or two of them guys. But if somebody applies that can do all this, wonderful.
I completely understand, but this is what they elected to go with.
But we don't want to discourage somebody that just wants to haul snow from not applying. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, maybe if we put it out there for a little bit and we don't get any bites, we can look at that again and see if that's the issue.
And do you need a position just for a driver? Like, my fear is that if you post something out there that's just for a driver, I mean, I remember when my dad was doing construction work and he'd hire a driver and then he'd ask him to do manual labor, and it was not pleasant. So,
I would suggest we go with Megan's suggestion and put it out there and I know we do have people that are interested, have expressed interest. Hopefully it goes well and we don't have to take further action.
Okay. If
And
we,
I think if you leave the application the way it is right now, you're just gonna weed out those who, they just wanna drive. There's plenty of other, openings in the wintertime for that, for people who just wanna drive truck. But for those who live local, wanna get some extra hours in and maybe do a little, stuff on the side as required, I'd say that would go with this at first, so weed it out to see how many applicants, we get brought in. If we don't get, enough to your liking, then we can always amend the application process.
I don't know if you heard that, Dan, but Paul said he's willing to work for you.
He's
Okay.
licensed up,
Yeah.
ready to go.
So,
Do we need, does this require a CDL?
Yes.
Okay, we should make sure we get that in the application then,
I'm sure it's in there.
because I
Doesn't it
didn't
say
notice
that?
it.
Yeah.
Thought it
That's why I
said
read it says that someplace.
in the thing,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
at
your
the working session.
qualifications.
I saw that,
It's on there.
yes.
Yeah, we're not farmers. We have CDL.
Right.
here's what I will say, if you need a different description for just a truck driver or something, to get people hired, bring it straight to council. Anyone objects and thinks it needs to go through policies, procedures, speak or forever hold your peace. But I think we need to get people hired before the snow comes, not after. So if you
We're-
need to bring us a new description, bring it straight here.
We're all here anyway, from policies and procedures, so that's fine.
Well, that group was a hard bunch to get together.
Yeah. Tough
All
call.
right, so then with that, I'd entertain a motion on approving the part-time seasonal on-call driver position, or snow removal operator, excuse me.
So moved.
Motion by Thielen to approve the description. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, on the next two, they're both policy amendments to our employee personnel policies and things like that. These are to bring us in line with the new earned sick and safe time, along with the doctor's certificates and other things, the statutory changes. So that's why these are here. They bring us in line with the state ordinance or state statutes. Policies and procedures has reviewed, the labor unions have, or the AFSCME has reviewed, and we're good to go on them.
Labor attorney reviewed.
Labor attorney reviewed. So first, I'd entertain a motion to approve the earned sick and safe time policy amendment, along with the letter of agreement between the city and AFSCME.
I will make the motion to approve the ESST policy amendment letter of agreement between the city, Painesville, and ASME Council 65.
Motion by Hersberg is on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Great. There's also a new requirement, or bring us in line with the state law, is a doctor's note required after 2 days instead of 3. Entertain a motion on that. Again, labor is reviewed, everybody else is reviewed.
I will reluctantly move to approve that.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Potter. Just to go back, I think it's still a permissive. Yeah, it's not a mandatory thing.
Do the unions have to approve this, or are we okay?
ASME approved it, LALS has not. But we will send them the new policy changes that we have.
All right, so there's motion by Brick, seconded by Potter to approve the revision. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Okay, meal breaks going down from 8 hours to 6 before you get an unpaid lunch. Again, reflecting the statute. Labor lawyers approved, policies, procedures approved. Can the council approve?
I'll move to approve the meal breaks and rest periods policy amendment.
Motion by Brick is reflected on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. All right, Dan, on a blower.
pull it? We're gonna pull it for now?
We brought it up at the Public Works Board meeting, and the Public Works Board decided they would like to table it.
Okay.
Could I ask why?
A lot of it is the shared use.
Okay. Getting the terms of that pinned down first.
Yeah, some of our agreements maybe aren't shared 50/50 as the costs are.
Okay. All right.
I think the feeling was probably be like the wood chipper. We use 10%, and they'd be using 90, and not a good
Okay.
50/50 should mean 50/50.
All right, then we have a position opening within Public Works that we'd like to get somebody on board, get this posted. There is an update in our packet. It was originally noted that it was a grade 8 position. It is a grade 5 according to the DDA scale, plus additional licensure stipends if applicable. So that's the only change. Otherwise, let's get this posted so that we can get that position filled. Unless there's anything else you need us to know, Dan?
I liked it better at a grade 8, but
Yeah.
That is what the previous was at, grade 5.
Should be.
Yep, that is it.
Well, I'll make the motion to start the hiring process for a full-time public works tech, wastewater, water treatment operator, and continue the hiring process until a recommendation can be made to council.
All right, motion by Hersberg, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. All right, going back up to the two things we pulled off the consent agenda, the first was John Lovin's resignation. Dan, what other boards did you say he was on?
he is on the airport board, not of a just zoning board, airport zoning
Airport
board.
Board of Adjustment, okay.
And maybe the airport board of adjustments. I think he's on both of those boards. Anything else, Tarek, that I'm,
And he definitely wants to be relieved of all of them? Okay,
he has medical issues that
okay.
We don't need to know more, we'll leave that. All right, so then we'd be looking at a motion to approve the resignation of John Lovin from the Public Works Board, along with any other boards on which he serves.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Potter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Please thank him for all his work on those boards for us, if we get a chance. Jennifer posted a thing, or Kristen posted a thing on Facebook, asking for volunteers to serve on various boards. Jordan Spalding had submitted a letter of interest saying they were willing to serve on the Park and Tree Board. I was all in favor of this, and then it dawned on me as we were talking tonight that perhaps we should hold off on approving that, because if we're going to combine the environmental board with the Park and Tree, I know Bev Oz has dutifully served on the environmental board for many, 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 many years, I think since it was formed. It feels a little bit like a disservice if we were to just say we're shutting it down and Bev, there's no place for you. I'd like to at least chat with her and see if she'd have an interest in carrying over. Or if we want to expand the Park and Tree Board, but that's just more quorum issues that we run into. So,
If you're gonna combine them, it might make sense to add a person or two.
it might. I don't know that two would make sense, but one I could get behind.
Yeah.
Just because that environmental board is quite hard to get a quorum.
There's a lot of overlap between those two boards, but if it does come down to wanting another person, I did have an interested person. I don't think he has social media, so I don't know if he saw the posts, but I did pass it along to Tarek, so.
We do have an opening on the Public Works Board if
Yeah,
somebody falls out and
I think
the
he'd be a good possibility for that. I can get in touch with you.
So I guess, do we want to make an appointment, and then if we consolidate those boards, discuss adding someone? What seems to make sense to me.
Yeah.
For what, no?
Do we want to appoint Jordan Spalding to the Park and Tree Board, or hold off until we decide if we're going to consolidate the boards? I think if we're going to consolidate, Bev would be a good person to carry over. She doesn't miss a meeting.
No, but
So much that Bev misses.
no. So I say if you're gonna combine them, then just add another person and that person can be Bev. Because if Jordan's interested, then just might as well hit the ground running.
Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Jordan Spalding to the Park and Tree Board.
So moved.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Thielen, any further discussion? None, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. With that, we have our advisory committee meeting minutes from the Lodging Tax Board, along with the August month-end reports are all published on our website. And with that, we stand adjourned.